The artificial intelligence economy has officially shifted into heavy infrastructure, and we know this based on verified news that dropped just this week. We're no longer just looking at benchmarks and API tokens. We are entering the era of sovereign-grade industrial megaprojects. Welcome to Trend Guards. Today's explainer focuses on the absolute biggest infrastructure bet in tech history, and we're going to break down exactly what it means for the future. The foundation of this monumental shift begins with a massive capital injection. According to a confirmed report from TechCrunch, NVIDIA is investing $1.5 billion in equity right into SB Energy. Now, SB Energy is a data center developer linked to SoftBank Group, and they'll be using this capital to build OpenAI's massive new campus out in Ohio. But here's the thing, that equity is really just the tip of the spear. A report from CNBC revealed that NVIDIA is also providing a staggering $105 billion credit guarantee to back the financing for this single facility. Let that number sink in for a second. This is not a rumor. It's an unprecedented corporate backstop designed specifically to secure the hardware for OpenAI's expansion. To truly wrap our heads around the scale of this, we have to look at the total roadmap. Based on statements from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang over on X and KuCoin, OpenAI has committed to an absolutely massive deployment of NVIDIA infrastructure by 2030. We are talking about a compute roadmap worth roughly $600 billion. So this huge physical build-out is centered at the SoftBank-backed SB Energy campus in Ohio, right? But how does an asset like this actually get built? Enter project finance. You don't pay for something this large with corporate cash. You go to Wall Street and you borrow billions against the future cash flows that the infrastructure is eventually going to generate. However, there is a major friction point here. Traditional banks are absolutely terrified to underwrite AI infrastructure debt. Think about it from their perspective. A data center is essentially just a highly specialized concrete box filled with rapidly depreciating silicon. If a new chip makes today's hardware obsolete in just 3 years, the bank is left holding a facility with plummeting value. The residual value risk is simply way too high. And this is exactly why NVIDIA's involvement is the linchpin of the deal. It creates a beautiful financial flywheel. Step 1. NVIDIA steps in to guarantee a $105 billion downside backstop. Step 2. Protected by that massive safety net, Wall Street banks confidently syndicate the debt. And step 3, SB Energy uses those funds to buy NVIDIA chips for OpenAI. So NVIDIA gets to recognize immediate revenue, the banks get their safe yield, and OpenAI gets its hardware. The specific metric that truly defines this infrastructure shift isn't just dollars, it's gigawatts. We are moving from hundreds of thousands of GPUs today to a stated target of over 10 million GPUs by 2030. That is 16 gigawatts of power. It's crucial we carefully distinguish the current Ohio reality from these massive multi-facility plans for the future. And this brilliantly illustrates what that 2030 goal means in the physical world. 16 gigawatts is equivalent to the continuous baseload power output of 16 modern nuclear reactors. This is heavy utility infrastructure on a monumental scale. Just think about how hard it is to keep the grid running during a summer heat wave, and now multiply that by 16 nuclear reactors worth of constant, unyielding draw. The logistical reality of actually reaching this is staggering. CNBC reports that the Ohio Center alone is going to support 35,000 construction jobs through 2032. Furthermore, the advanced cooling required for these next-gen chips takes almost as much electricity as the silicon itself, which places a massive new strain on our existing high-voltage transmission grids. With numbers this large, financial journalists have obviously flagged a controversy regarding NVIDIA effectively funding its own customers' purchases. Wall Street is split. The bear case fears a repeat of Cisco in 1999, arguing that this artificially inflates revenue and creates speculative, dark fiber bad debt with zero immediate demand. But the bull case counters that this is fundamentally different. They argue it's a strategic partnership to build long-lived infrastructure, noting that OpenAI is actively generating billions in real, annualized API revenue. Plus, the debt risk is syndicated across Wall Street banks, not just sitting on NVIDIA's books. NVIDIA leadership has directly addressed this concern. According to Yahoo Finance, CEO Jensen Huang explicitly pushed back, stating on the record, "The NVIDIA OpenAI deal isn't circular financing." His defense relies entirely on the verifiable, immediate demand that is already being generated by OpenAI's existing enterprise and consumer products. Now, what's really interesting about this is the impact on major tech incumbents like Microsoft and AWS. For years, OpenAI relied on the hyperscaler model, training models by renting compute from Microsoft Azure's walled garden. But as their compute needs exceed the hyperscaler's physical capacity and push toward that 16 gigawatt mark, they are shifting to the sovereign model. OpenAI is bypassing cloud providers to partner directly with developers to build their own dedicated sovereign grids. Because of this $600 billion compute roadmap has triggered a desperate scramble across global supply chains. We are looking at a 3 to 4 year global backlog just for high-voltage step-down transformers. We're seeing surging demand for millions of tons of copper, and the revival of dormant nuclear plants and funding for small modular reactors. If you work in tech, you need to pay attention. Enterprise CTOs must make a strategic shift as these megaprojects tighten up cloud compute availability worldwide. So we've walked through the facts: the $1.5 billion in equity, the $105 billion credit guarantee, and the heavy physical reality of the Ohio build-out. But looking toward that 2030 roadmap leaves us with one massive, grounded uncertainty. Can the U.S. power grid actually handle 16 gigawatts of new AI demand? It is a physical limitation that will define the next decade of technology. Thank you for joining us for this explainer. Stay curious, rely on verified facts, and stay ahead.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel grow. See you in the next video.